So yeah, on this journey of trying to find out who I am on paper, who is the person, who is the legal fiction, who owns my name? I didn't give it to myself. And on that journey, looking at the birth certificate as a document that somehow binds you to your nation, your government, place of birth. And looking in there, it's the certificate of birth, the first one, has your given name on it, and the sex, the gender, and date of birth. And then there's the registrar's name. And he puts you into an entry book of numbers. It's a count, it's a county. A country is made of a tree of counts. So all of the people are considered at that point, registered. Their names are in a big book of numbers. Each one's got a unique number. And so then there's a birth certificate, a different one called the, certified copy of an entry into the register of the Births and Deaths Registration Act 1958, something like that. So I'm looking at it thinking, okay, yeah, there's the things on there, the mother and father. There's this tracking number again, or this counting number. The mother is considered to be the informer on that document, which leads to the Bible, a piece in the Bible about Jacob and Jacob's mother, Jacob and Esau, the twins. Jacob's mother informed Jacob that he should pretend to be his brother and steal his birthright. And so Jacob, dressed in this hide, in this wolf hide, went to his blind father Isaac and says, "Yeah, I am Esau." And then his father Isaac gave Jacob, without knowing it, he gave him the blessing, gave him the inheritance and the birthright. And then Jacob went off to Esau one day while Esau was on the field, and Esau didn't know about this at that point, or I think it was prior to that. Jacob went to Esau when Esau was really hungry, and Esau was begging for food, and Jacob said, "If you sell me your birthright, then I will give you a bowl of lentils." So that's like the little story within the Bible that connects to the birthright and the birth certificate being the twin brothers Jacob and Esau. And this kind of language is used there, So, and the mother isn't to blame. It was kind of meant that way, It's part of the storyline. So the birth certificate itself seems to be also, a births and deaths certificate, because obviously when you're born, when you're given life, there's one thing that's sure, and that is that you're going to die someday. You will die. Life will end or change. You will die. And it could be from the day of being born, from actually being born. It could be a stillbirth. And looking in the Births and Deaths Certificate Act, it says that a stillbirth birth includes stillbirth in this act. And usually in legal writing, when it says includes, it kind of discludes everything else, to my knowledge. So it kind of makes sense that this document would be then kind of, in a way, a will, a testament. Like, as you're born, you inherit everything, the kingdom of heaven and earth sort of thing. And that's kind of put in trust, maybe, or put in that will. Would be known as a secret will or a mystic will, because the contents couldn't be revealed. He couldn't include all the contents. It's a mystic will, and that will is bequeathed between the mother and the registrar. And I would say then the registrar or the government becomes the devisee of that will. But the thing is like, I'm not dead, I don't think. So this birth certificate is if it's also a death certificate, then it's pending. It's not. It's awaiting another prompt or another command. It's awaiting some other result to make it a complete will. If that will was to be used before it's finished pending, before it's actually become a instrument, a legal instrument, a valid legal instrument, before that point, it needs some requirement fulfilling. Looking at the deaths and deaths, looking at the act, looking at the act, deaths and births and deaths. It's like kind of saying, yeah, so still includes stillbirth. To actually, so what's the name of someone who identifies a deceased or dead body? It's a coroner, and a coroner is the word crowner. It's like somebody who crowns somebody is a coroner. So it seems at that point when we when the coroner identifies us as being dead, and that births and death certificate is then valid. It's no longer pending. It's become an active, like a real, instrument, a device. That will goes into effect, and then the entire inheritance of that mystic will would be then, given back to, I don't know. So whether we actually need our entire inheritance put into some kind of piece of paper is another question. I think the idea of denying the name on the birth certificate is, the reason that any of these documents can be used for identification isn't because of the document itself, but because there's a signature on there, your signature or whatever, and a lot of it's then ignored. We shouldn't worship graven images and obey false idols and bear false witnesses and these things. That a lot of that does regard to the legal fiction that we've created, which we shouldn't take so seriously. That those commandments, really, 5 of them. Oh, it's windy. Let's move back. 5 of them seem to apply more to do with honour, to do with idolatry and inner values, and 5 of them are like fellow man, how we treat our fellow man, and those first 5, that bearing false witnesses and graven images and stuff, it doesn't mean to say that our passport image or our identification card image is somehow evil or anything. It's just an image, it's just a piece of paper. I know that authorities may not see it that way. I know that other people may not see it that way. But, if we understand the true nature of the pieces of paper that they're demanding from us, then we can kind of do it different ways. There's a different way, But we don't have to get angry at them for thinking that this identification card or this birth certificate or whatever means so much. We have to have respect for these things, but not so much that you know what I'm saying. Anyway, all right, I'll leave it there, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.